Hello everyone, I'm Vikramaditya here again, and in this session, I'm going to continue with the interview question and answers for SAP HANA data provisioning. So we had discussed in the previous topic about the data provisioning, what exactly is data provisioning, and what is ETL, what is replication in SAP HANA, and what are the different replication scenarios is what we have normally discussed, and what are the transformation rules, what are jobs involved, and all these things. So, I mean, like basically, we have stopped the session at the advantages of SLT replication is what we need to discuss here. So, this is where I'll continue in this session. So before getting into it, we just normally have to understand that this session is purely on the question and answers related to data provisioning in SAP HANA. So we have SAP LT, that's landscape transformation, uses trigger-based approach. Trigger-based approach has no measurable performance impact in source system. So if at all, if you are running the SLT job, there will not be any performance issue in the source system. That's what we actually have. Let's say we have the source as ECC system, and from ECC system you are replicating data into HANA. There will not be any performance issues in the ECC system. That's the first advantage that we have in SLT. It provides transformation and filtering capability. So actually, like filtering in the sense, like if you have huge number of records, let's say we have a million records, and you needs to be only a couple of records have to be loaded based on a particular criteria. You can do that using the filtering. Transformations also can do. You can also write a logic in the at the transformations level and load the data. So this is what we can do in SLT. It's a second advantage, and it allows real-time data replication. So, and we can get the data from SAP and non-SAP systems as well. So this is another advantage, and it is useful, fully integrated with SAP HANA Studio. Replication from multiple source systems to one HANA system is allowed. Also from one source system to multiple HANA systems. So these are the advantages of SLT. So I repeat the advantages. First one is it will not impact any performance in the source system. Second one is you can perform transformation and filterings. And third one is you can get real-time data from SAP systems and non-SAP systems. Fourth one is it is fully integrated with HANA Studio. Fifth advantage is that we can have data from one source system to multiple HANA systems, or from multiple source systems to one single HANA system. These are the advantages of SLT replication. Now, the next question is it possible to use a replication for multiple sources and target SAP HANA system? Yes, the SAP LT replication server supports both 1:n replication and n:1 replication. So here we have multiple source systems can be connected to one SAP HANA system, or one source system can be connected to multiple HANA systems. But when we do that, it is limited to only 1:4. So the maximum number of HANA systems that we can connect is 4 from a source system. And is there any prerequisite before creating the configuration and replication? Yes, there obviously will be some prerequisites for us to perform the SLT. They are like DMS add-on must be installed in SLT replication server, and whoever is running this connection have to have mm, a role called IEUC underscore REPL underscore remote, and there should be an RFC connection established with the replication server. And then we have for non-SAP source systems, we need not have the DMS. We have database user has to be created with appropriate authorizations in advance, and establish the database connection by using transaction DBCO in the SAP SLT replication server. So we need to ensure the database specific library components for the SAP 7.20 release, or extended kernel, are installed in the SAP LT replication server. So these are the things that we have to make sure for non-SAP source system. And for SAP source system, those are the prerequisites that we have for running the SLT job. Now, what is configuration and monitoring dashboard? So it is an application that runs on SLT replication server to specify configuration information such as source system name, target system name, and relevant connections, so that data can be replicated. It can also use it to the monitor the replication status. Transaction is LTR, and status, if it is yellow, it may occur due to triggers which are not yet created successfully, and if the status is red, it may occur if master job is aborted. So we need to do it manually in the transaction SM37. What happens when you set up a new configuration? What are the basic things that happen? So when a new configuration in the SAP SLT replication server is created, the database connection is automatically created along with a schema GUID and master transfer ID, that is MT underscore ID. So a schema GUID ensures that configurations with the same schema can be created. The mass transfer ID is used in the naming of SLT jobs, and the system can uniquely identify a schema. The mapping of mass transfer IDs and the related schema are stored in the SLT config control table, that's DMC underscore MT underscore header in the SAP LT replication server. So does SLT for SAP HANA support data compression like SAP HANA database? Yes, obviously this is automatically covered with by the RFC connection used to data replication from the SAP source system. Define configuration in SLT. So the information required to create the connection between the source system, the SLT system, and the SAP HANA system is specified within the SLT system as a configuration. So a new configuration in configuration monitoring dashboard, transaction is LTR, can hence be defined. So what ETL server is used for ECC system? SAP SLT server. What are the benefits of implementing SAP HANA with ERP? So this is something out of this data provisioning. So it's performance optimization for operational reporting, and performance of large volumes of data, and provision of real-time analytics. So as I was discussing in the earlier sessions, like basically we'll have two different types of systems in the real-time OLTP system and OLAP system. All the OLAP systems will have the data not real time after a day, after a week or something like that, because the jobs are scheduled at end of the day, end of the week, or end of the month as well. So that data will be available in the OLTP system for decision making only after that loads have been done. But when we implement SAP HANA, the data available for decision making is almost real time. You can do analytics on the real time data. So what method is used to extract tables from ECC server in the real time? SLT based table data provision. So what is BODS? So initially there's a small history for this. Let me tell you that BODS is the ETL tool which was actually a part of BO. Once the BO company, the business objects company, was completely acquired by SAP, the BODS was kept aside, but the BO reporting tool was immediately used. It was integrated with the SAP's BW system, SAP BI 7.0. Basically, at that time, that was the version. So then they integrated it, and then they used that reporting tool. But later on, BODS was kept aside, and that was being used in HANA. So now coming to this BODS, it's popularly right now called as data services, and this is mainly used for the replication of data. It goes like this. So it is an ETL tool currently acquired by SAP, used for integration with all types of disparate systems, extracting data from them, transforming them into meaningful information, and loading them into all types of systems. And what are the components of BODS? The SAP data services have below components. We have a designer, job server, engine, and repository. So explain components of BODS. So designer, what are the components that we have discussed? I'm going to discuss in detail about the BODS. So I repeat, what are the important data components of the BODS? It's designer, job server, engine, and repository. So we have designer. What exactly designer, the operations of designer is, it is a development tool by which we can create, test and execute a job that populates a data warehouse. It allows the developer to create objects and configure them by selecting an icon in a source to target flow diagram. So it can be used to create an application by specifying workflows and data flows. So job server, it is an application that launches the data services, processing engine and servers as an interface to the engine and data services suite. Engine data services engine executes individual jobs which are defined in the application. And repository is a database that stores designer predefined objects and user defined objects, source and target metadata transformation rules. So what is the path to open BODS? In fact, if at all, if the BODS has been installed, then the path for opening it is like, go to the start menu, all programs, and we have something called SAP Data Services 4.2 here, and there will have something called SAP Service Designer. So there are, I mean, like types of repositories. So there'll be two types of repositories: local repository and a local repository and central repository. So used by designer and I mean, like this local repository is used by designer and job servers. The question for this is like, what are the different types of repositories? So we have local repository used by designer and job server, and central repository used for object sharing and version control. And this question I'm going to discuss in the next session about the different types of server details. Okay, so what is ETL based replication? So we have in the different techniques that we have for replication, we have SLT based replication, and then we also have the ETL based replication. So when we go for ETL based replication, business objects data services to specify and load the relevant business data in defined periods of time from an ERP system into the HANA database. So basically, we can use this ETL-based application for getting the data from ERP systems. You can reuse the ERP application logic by regarding extractors or utilizing SAP function modules. So in addition, the ETL-based methods offers options for the integration of third-party data services as well. And what is the use of business objects data services? We already have SLT based data replication, we have data services based replication, and we have the ETL based replication. So business objects data services provides a graphical interface that allows you to easily create jobs that extract data from heterogeneous sources, transform that data to meet the business requirements of your organizations, and load the data into a single location. So basically, when we have data to be extracted from multiple source systems and to be unified into a single location, then you probably can opt for BODS. And what is repository? The SAP HANA repository is a storage system for developments, objects, and is built on into SAP HANA. So it's, in simple words, repository is the database where we store everything, right? So the repository supports version control, transport, and sharing of objects between multiple developers. We can add objects to the repository, update the objects, publish the objects, and compile these objects into a runtime objects. So why to configure import server? In order to load data from external sources to SAP HANA, we need to establish a connection with the server. So to connect, we need to provide details of business objects data services and ODBC servers drivers. So once the connection is established, we can import the tables definition and then load data into table definitions. This is what we can do to configure the import server. So what replication methods is good for complex transformation? So ETL based replication, the data services, which all business objects tools can be directly connected to HANA information system. So if there is a complex transformation process, then we'd probably go for ETL based replication. And so we can get the data directly into different information views, SQL Umira, analysis edition for OLAP, and Crystal Reports. Crystal Reports is a part of BO and Design Studio. So what is Data Services Workbench? Data Services Workbench was introduced we used to perform the following steps for data loading in SAP HANA via data services. Import metadata into data services workbench, source system HANA relevant data, create data